Hello Galactic family. My friend. Thank you for taking time out of your schedule every month to connect with me this way. It's really one of the highlights of the month for me and I always look forward to it. Transition. We are in an extraordinary transition period now, individually and as a whole. During times of great transition, the mind often goes into survival mode because everything around it is changing. This can be very frightening. Fear is a sign of resistance. The mind is trying to cling to the past stories and patterns with which it has identified and felt comfortable, to stay safe and protected. This tendency of the mind, to resist change by trying to cling to the past, is at its peak now. This is bringing up many unresolved imbalances that we may still be keeping in our body, mind and emotions. However, when this resistance arises, it is a clear confirmation that great breakthroughs are coming if we open ourselves to them. Many advances in our growth path begin in what we see as a collapse of the mind, body, or emotions. Of course, our spirit never sees us as ruined in any way. He sees only wholeness and perfection in us. This is why collapses are never an experience of the spirit. They are an experience of the mind. They happen when the mind feels it has reached a critical point, the uncomfortable realization that the old thoughts and methods are no longer serving us. The collapse comes from the shock of realizing that change must happen, even though it seems very uncomfortable for the mind. She resents the internal changes that come with growth because she has been trained to think of change as something that will take away the identity she has created for herself. She fears she is no longer needed in the way that usually works. However, there always seem to be people who know how to accept change, who are not disturbed by the changes that the mind must make. They seem to be able to reinvent themselves, to evolve into an even higher version of who they are. How are they able to evolve without struggling and welcome change cheerfully? Think of someone you know who takes on changes and transformations easily, letting things flow without resistance or fear. These free spirits are not connected to the old familiar paths, so that they are capable of allowing change without feeling threatened by it. Notice how you feel when you're around someone like that. Probably you relax more, while you experience the easy flow of energy from this person. You can see that they see life more through your heart than through your mind. Unlike the mind, our spirit is not affected by change. He is encouraged and excited by it. In fact, it thrives on change. However, it is not uncommon for most of us to feel butterflies in our stomachs when we consider a major change, or we deal with a new situation. This is not really fear, or a warning about some future event. It is our spirit dancing with enthusiasm, letting us know that we are advancing in new and empowered ways. Of course, the mind interprets butterflies as nervousness or fear. Because, in a limited way, you do not really understand what is happening. When this happens, just speak calmly with your mind, to let it know that these feelings are a sign of your spirit that is creating a wonderful new experience for you. Let her know she can release all fear. It simply is not needed anymore. The energies arriving during the month of March have been nudging us to go beyond our comfort zone. If we do not understand that this was happening, we may have had moments of feeling disoriented, confused, and at some point experiencing some sort of mental, emotional, or physical collapse. However, collapses can lead to surprising growth. In fact, a collapse really means dismantling limiting patterns that do not serve our greater good. We are now at the point where we are no longer able to find comfort in limiting patterns. This may sound like a crisis, but it is the kind of crisis that comes from a complete perspective. It can be one of the most spiritual experiences we can have, because in this time of crisis we have a chance to reevaluate our lives and create a new and higher reality for ourselves. If we are ready to learn from the collapse, the next chapter of our lives may seem much brighter when we experience more of the power of our spirit and our own higher self. But, why are these collapses happening now? The end of karmic contracts. One big reason why everything seems a bit more challenging than normal now is because this is a time when old karmic contracts, vows and commitments that we have made over many lives, whether consciously or not, are coming to the surface, so that we become aware of them and totally dissolve them. Confirmations that our old karmic contracts are expiring may include internal nudges that encourage us to give up our current job or ventures, fully align with our life purpose, take better care of our body, mind and spirit, enter fully into our power, switch to a new location, release unhealthy relationships, start a new job, business, project or hobby. Let us reconcile ourselves, with others and with the universe. Accept a higher level of abundance in our lives. Time of conclusion. A conclusion is a sacred time in our lives, which means a deep closure. It is the end of an old chapter, and the beginning of a new one. The conclusion is not about getting rid of something or someone in our lives with force. It's not about fixing anything. It is really about understanding that we have reached a point in our lives where certain contracts, vows and obligations we have had with certain people, places, experiences and ourselves, have been fulfilled. The conclusion means we chose not to run away or avoid something that seemed uncomfortable or scary to us, but that we are facing any challenge needed to be faced. We learn our lessons, and we no longer need to recreate this experience in our lives. The conclusion may even occur between members of Alma's family and soul mates. These seem to be the most difficult for most people because we can recall the feeling so connected to these beautiful spirits at one point. When a conclusion happens on a soul level, a compassionate love still remains. If anything less than compassion remains, the conclusion has not yet been fully achieved. If you are someone who is experiencing a conclusion at this point, know that you are exactly where you should be on your journey. Times like these help us put everything into perspective, and help us appreciate the daily blessings in our lives. Once a conclusion comes and integration is made, wonderful new adventures await us. Until next time. Miraculously yours, Emmanuel.